Hello, Americans. I recorded a way to observe how they use remotely the sense and sensibilities of retired and upstanding interbranch in the names of the people of the sciences. To use a phrase from the Old Testament, for example, the language in the Old Testament and the syntax of the Old Testament and of the Quran, for example. There are proofs in other religions too. They can't afford to have them read in sequence because of the rackets by differences that are recorded at location slash s that further hyper additionally with our database relationships and the differences of guilt there or hyper additionally collusion slash s of campuses with databases relativity slash relativity only permitted self-valid collusions with that or that body of sense and their predicate acts are committed against us. Increasingly, kids and adults from Central Connecticut State University make ineffective confessions to me from strangers, and that's a part of a crime method recorded, crime method slash s, where they put people in fake communications with each other, and they do little tricks like that to make communications, but there's no really communication, not really even no one responded, and no one even knows the person saying that, so they can't respond. There are little tricks like that associated with Fox News. Channel 3 News attached me to fake conversations with them and about the World Trade Center attack. Increasingly, people that were in two speech class teachers classes I had were forced, tricked, hurt, and persuaded to collusion slash s with intelligence families that used to live on my street. Increasingly, there are police named Mendez, and people tied to them with the British Superior Court and Weathersfield Police Department further up sexual medical offenders of kids, acts, collusions with those places, and ones tied to them and their family members, and further with the principal child abuser's campus. And I caught him and with other ones from years before him. Time collusions with him and more involved then and now. Increasingly, people in the class of 1993 will tell you, I never even saw on campus. I never saw on one campus uh, 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 Dan King. Increasingly, others I never saw on campuses like a Joshua Julian. They're increasingly collusion slash that's with people at the state judicial branch offices and the state corrections offices next to and conjunctive to it and to that are increasingly collusions with identity theft, fraud, slanders. Interbranch have been switching names with these names. Two speech class teachers I had in high school have kids and have adults with that class. Recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, involved with a method that has names on all sides of criminal and civil cases. And the interbranch put the same fake things at the same time with the news. And they make confessions and pretend that means anything. Like they made confessions, Washington, D.C. and New York City has ties to two speech class teachers I have, and with people next to and conjunctive to the state judicial branch offices and the corrections offices, and to that, who also have collusion slash S proven with federal evidences crimes on my street. And there are ones directly and indirectly tied together in others, but also with the ties to proven child abusers, leaders of kids. And they have their extended family members who had time collusions with that, as ones involved interstates and internationally with those involved with the World Trade Center attack. And with the court next to it used remotely its identity that morning and the night before. New York's identity was used remotely, as was the courts with New York's. In the morning before the World Trade Center attack, shown to the panel of judges from inside the court were legal papers that had been already brought to the court and time stamped, timely. Then they were insidiously from inside the court posted and presented to the panel of judges that way, which was proven. But that was proven after the attack. It was shown to the panel of judges it was perpetrated right in the World Trade Center attack context. Weathersfield police have a number of people involved with the name Scalora, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed involved with sexual and medical offenders of them. And as people that I never saw on a campus in my life, who've been, and they try to make a fake example in Glastonbury. Glastonbury, you have people named Scalora involved with the FBI director and multiple police departments who have timed collusions with their families with sexual and medical offenders of kids, also with religious spots. These are also nutbags pretending they're legitimate when they're speaking about hate. They're sequence shifting. In other words, their evidence is planting. That's how it's recorded. You have to get them on paper. Name they're recorded confessing to me that they use crime method, predicate act methods where they bring you to the court and they stack more fake things tied to the fake things in the past they put there. Whole careers are kept used remotely, criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw. A bunch of people with my neighbors and tied to them with the police. Forced tricks her and persuaded them to collusions with intelligence families associated with the corners of the streets and town lines, like the corner of Town Line Drive and South State Highway. There's increasingly a Kerr family and a Colol family and a DeMoro family who have roles with a former with a Judge Smith and a Jennifer Smith. I never saw her on the inside of a campus in my life, Jennifer Smith. There's a Christopher Cullen too. Is recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed by a bunch of people involved with the former Mayor Gold and with various natures of federal evidences crimes on my street with them, tied to their roles with sexual and medical offenders of kids and people involved with the World Trade Center attack. Who knows a Christopher Cullen? He's involved with people involved with child abusers and federal evidences crimes with the nonverbal confessions and demonstrations of a former Mayor Gold, too, with people with the side entrances to parks through time, which is a number of ways has something to do with the World Trade Center attack. These are also people who lie about what they think online to prevent a quality of fact treatment nature that we could be and should be. We're obligated to by the Constitution unabridged, by the meaning of that. But you guys don't follow mandated law, and you're making confessions also with your silence. Get me off the faith conversations with Channel 3 News, Judge Napolitano. They have your social media involved with it, Fox News. I can't get them. They're criminally foreign info, tactical delusions raw too, formally with readings of American history. You yourself, Judge Napolitano, James Madison declassified things that we were supposed to amend to what he said. We're supposed to understand clearer than day. James Madison wanted nothing to do with slavery, with women's suffrage, those laws against every single human difference, sickly distinctly. Before that World Trade Center attack, I had syntax with a Joe DeMoro. I don't know who that girl Titan was. These are people with foreign and domestic intelligence involved with sexual and medical offenders of kids, overt criminal enterprises and private ones, for his cousins, and for the girls involved with some rape. In other words, they abuse them. And there's victims advocates involved with rape threats and abuses of little girls sexually and medically, and roles with all kinds of organized crimes with multiple boyfriends of some of their female victims too, and intelligence. Where whole investigators, and their family members and their campuses were used remotely, criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw. There's a subby Bajario I only know seeking me out to fake things to make it look like I had a conversation that never was, and then he had to hide and lie what the actual value, when he was planting evidences on the side of my campus. Fake ties, fake nature. Never saw him in the inside of a campus in my life. He's increasingly involved with people with intelligence families next to Central Connecticut State University in the Britain, Connecticut, involved with sexual and medical offenders of kids with intelligence families near me in the past that are also involved with multiple police departments at the same time, and they have the extended family members, the ones further involved with them, and they have roles with the untimely death at Trinity College, and some murders that and confessions tied to it that came up at the same time. And these are police departments and interbranch that are offensively recorded, threatening people not to speak properly. These aren't legitimate people trying to investigate things. In other words, they're recorded. They attach me to fake conversations and being with them at the Weathersfield police station as a kid and as an adult. People, they offensively, they recorded, confess, demonstrate. It's recorded that they communicate to people that they are incapable of not changing and faking, reality and stealing people's identities, Get me off the fake conversations word ever. I didn't have one word ever with the older police brother Mendez, and there were no other cops there I spoke with when I went to get the police report. They also he's recorded confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, has roles with my Saudi ex forced them to collusions before and after the World Trade Center attack. I communicated that. Then when people yell when they're in the background with the investigators hiding wood, so they're actually recording. They're not hiding legitimately. Increasingly, people from Wethersfield have roles with the apartments and buildings. They changed the name of the street too. Um, all these people tied to the name Mazzucato too. A Mazzucato knows there's a Reno Mazzucato who has a John Romano who sought me out on my street to make confessions and confirmations and record things, demonstrate things. I never knew him before that. They tried to make a fake example one time at a campus. I walked by him. There's a fake exception planting. John Mono's a liar too. I never had a word of conversation with his mother, and then he says different things too. He's involved with all kinds of investigators involved with wire crimes on my street before I even knew who he was. Too, his name was repeated to me. And a Paul Zano has recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed. I never had a conversation. Paul Zano was around me. The only time I know him around me is trying to make a conversation with him. I never had conversations with Paul Zano. He's increasingly fake ties to me with a Rick C. and Faglione too. I don't even know if they hung out. A Rick C. and Faglione. And these are people all along Route 3 in conjunctions to it and to that, like the state judicial branch officers. A Ray Collo and a Paul Zano were also influenced to repeat the name Steven Stocco to me. And they harassed him the whole time. When they put him to put a fake exception class in me, they should not have hid what I recorded tied to a Paul Zano and a Ray Collo with Wethersfield Police, Hartford Police, Newington Police, different types of identities of law, the titles. He has a reported roommate, I don't even know his name, involved with a bunch of people with the spots next to Fox Connecticut News, involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders, and fake motivation screening because they have a whole bunch of other countries involved with them. And their roles with the corners of the streets. A bunch of people with the corner of the street, on Elm Street and Rocky Hill and Wethersfield, have collusions on my street in Wethersfield with the former mayor, with the former mayors, and with a former police chief Cintron. And 1 years before that, and their family members and intimate ties. And these are his own police are making confessions about them. They won't get on paper into branch. I've been asking you guys for years. Increasingly, a Mazzucato family has collusions with planting fake things in databases, fake ties, fake natures of ties to other people, and with Whiting Forensics. Whiting Forensics has a bunch of police forms involved with a Reno Mazzucato. I don't even know his brother's name. I don't know his sister's name. I never saw any of them on a campus in my life. There was it was one exception, and wasn't even a campus I went to. They tried to make a fake exception too, because these people, oh, you forgot that exception. These are people who go back and forth with all sides of criminal and civil cases in the interbranch and foreign at the same time, with worse overt criminal enterprise private use. They use it remotely at the same time. They have collusions with WFSB also at that corner with foreign and domestic families, and ones men and women who use the name Bobby, involved inter cities and interstates and and internationally. There's men and women with the name Bobby involved with the Saudis, further involved with Wethersfield Police and New Britain Superior Court with them personally too. Some Mendez are reportedly brothers too. A Janito Mendez who uses other names on police reports, and reportedly a Janito Mendez, and Eric Mendez. Reportedly that's his name. Otherwise, in other words, they're not clear about they switch names in the branch. They switch sequences. They've been stacking databases. They've been putting fake. They've been using right to lie where they don't have the right to lie. Also, it was demonstrated to me. There's a Mike Roberts, and confirmed to me, a Mike Roberts and Eric Jensen also have federal evidences crimes with people with the food bag tied to a Mendez brothers and family, and other people with that name in the locations of their houses next to schools. Involve all kinds of medical corruption, wire crimes, mail crimes. The Wethersfield police use mail crime, wire crime, digital crime, changing and faking what's digitally recorded. There's an officer poisoning, further involved with sexual and medical offenders, leaders of kids. He's got courts involved with them. You should fear God to hide and plot. Judge Napolitano, how many times I have to ask you to get them on paper? They brought your name in. Fox News has roles with this too, with the Facebook pages of the campuses and of the Britain Superior Court. Before they even had a Facebook page, before the World Trade Center attack, the Britain Superior Court, West Hartford Court, I mean Hartford Courts, and the New Britain Superior Court has people that affected confessions to me in West Hartford. And one of the girls from the court said that Eric Burgess would get in a lot of trouble for having told us about the New Britain Superior Court's involvements with it in Hartford's courts. Also found out the depositions of former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and his co-defendants who are involved with it, and their lawyer. And these are various natures of federal criminals and their family members who have been planting predicate acts, identity theft, fraud, slanders at crime scenes, including ones as campuses as them, even when it's not realized all the time. It's recorded tied to instances where it was recorded, but they're leaving out their roles of the other countries involved with their own family members. Increasingly, there are more than 4 families associated with Valleycrest Street in Wethersfield involved with sexual and medical offenders of kids inter and intra cities and inter and intra campuses and other natures of organized crimes with them. And I don't know who those two with the 2 different houses on the same street with the upskirt pictures or whatever they were involved. I hope that the upskirt pictures with the principal I caught you guys with the former mayor Gold too. There's a Brian Silver too with the district court and with the New Britain Superior Court, further with sexual and medical offenders of kids. You get them on paper too, because there's an officer, there's a prosecutor named Soulsby too, involved with a bunch of people in the Britain Superior Court and involved too, next to Central Connecticut State University too, on all sides of it. Through time, they have had collusion has something to do with the people with the predicate acts inter and intra cities, and more people at Rocky Hill High School further have collusions with a Mayana family, with intelligence crimes, and with identity theft, fraud, slanders, and planting fake motives too. Little coward games, scream things out. You better get them on paper, one name in sequence, and you better confess this to Rocky Hill campuses now, the ones further involved with the Wethersfield campuses and with other campuses intra cities. The Britain Superior Court and the Britain Central Connecticut State University, they have more people involved with sexual and medical offenders of kids, with the principal being. And they left out what he confessed to me and the more other names he brought into it. They have a Michael Emmett too. Further then and now, there are more people too with the Board of Education. There are neighbors. Brian Bonin sought me out. The only time I ever saw him, sought me out to record, confess, demonstrate, confirm. He has federal evidence his crimes with the intelligence community near him and foreign people and various natures. They have roles with what was it, mescaline and, and guns and wire crimes and the house. The timing of it reported there was an unmarked police car next to him, and these are people that involved my family members and their neighbors with my name. A bunch of people at 2 Hour Highway, conjunctive to it and to that, like Hangdog Lane, are people I only know, I don't know at all, and ones that sought me out to record, confess, demonstrate, confirm. They have roles with identity theft, fraud, slanders, and a whole bunch of other people. Whole bunch of boyfriends tied to a just one of the Spada girls, and there's like 3 or 4 Spada sisters. I have no hard feelings for them, but there's a probate court judge with a Delafair family. He's got more than 3, 4 boys in the family. I don't know the names of 2 of them. I never saw them around campuses. They have collusions with people who've been putting fake things in databases behind my back and pretending they know me and trying to make all exceptions to. They use criminally forward influence, tactical delusions raw. They have also roles with the town lines, planting evidence of fake exceptions. Is one of the things that is massive recorded. You guys are getting over on nature. how nature shows uses exceptions. You guys are playing fake exceptions. You guys are forcing things before courts the way the breaching method shows you have to. All sides of the criminal civil cases, the interbranch and foreign at the same time used remotely with the same sequence shifts need to be self-valued. Get me off the fake conversations with the interbranch and with Channel 3 News now. That's obligated. They lied about the World Trade Center attack. And they have predicate acts with the names involved with it leading up to the attack in the attack context and each year since to hide that. All that is recorded. Who disbelieves? Get them heck on campus, down paper.